The future of Alzheimer's treatment is moving more and more away from finding that perfect cure to adopting preventive measures, and early intervention as a way to treat, if you will, Alzheimer's. I'm Edward Park, and I'm the founder of NeuroReserve. And when it comes to Alzheimer's and the steps we've taken over the years from a treatment perspective and a drug perspective, 30 years have gone by since the 1990s or so, when an idea came about that a certain molecule in the brain called amyloid beta was the cause of Alzheimer's. So as amyloid beta builds up in the brain and creates what they call plaques of amyloid, the idea was that if we develop a drug that could clear that stuff out and remove it from the brain, then that would cure, stop, or maybe even fully cure Alzheimer's. And what we've learned over that time period is that although it may help a little bit to do that, it's not going to be anywhere near enough. So that's a big takeaway from almost 30 years of research that have gone by. And now we're starting to look at different ways, different causes of Alzheimer's that we can start to go at with either drugs, or actually way more interesting from a prevention standpoint. And one of those drugs for Alzheimer's you may have heard of is called Lecanemab, and that was recently approved by the FDA in January of this year, of 2023. So while many researchers were working on a treatment for Alzheimer's, they call it amyloid beta clearance drugs, things like that you may have heard of. What we realized over the past the past 10 years, looking back now, is that with all the difficulty and multiple failures and those types of treatments, a lot of researchers turned to prevention. They started thinking maybe lifestyle, maybe simple things that we can change in our lives can prevent this disease, because certainly treatments weren't catching up with the disease. So prevention becomes the treatment. And so began a lot of different studies that came out looking at things like sleep, exercise, maintaining relationships with others, maintaining cognitive training, so learning and curiosity and continuing with that, right? And just keeping track of your heart health or your diabetes or metabolic health could help a lot. And finally, one of the biggest levers that people could pull out of all is diet and nutrition. And that's only been starting to come out in the past 10 years in a couple really landmark studies, like the Mind Diet studies in 2015. And then later on, there was another study in 2018 called the Finger study. It was actually a Finnish study where they watched people over 2 years. And all they did was they changed a couple of lifestyle factors. They watched their heart health, they exercised, they ate well, and all of a sudden, that preventive aspect really started to kick in, and they were able to avoid dementia or improve or maintain their cognitive abilities going into the future. So those are groundbreaking, and it's very new stuff, actually. So people should be very excited about it. Hey, this is Edward Park, the founder of NeuroReserve, and thank you so much again for watching this.